bringing in competition. Can China develop?
Regions. Their delegations
in Shanghai, from the commercial in Shanghai, from the commercial side or to
We know about exports. Countries export what they know to do best, but they also have to import, which is what this fair is about. And importing is what the world knows to do best. The second word that I would use is sustainability. Sustainability because we need to make sure that trade works for everybody, not just for the happy few, for the 1%. It also has to work for the 99%. And this is a lot to do with small and medium enterprises, which are a big focus for the International Trade Center, but which are also a big focus for the Expo. And the third S that I would like to mention is signal. What this Import Expo is about is a signal that China is sending that it wants to keep its doors open to the world, that it wants to make sure that it continues not only to be the factory of the world, but it becomes the market of the world, hence this focus on import. And again, this is a nice bridge between the import and the Belt and Road Initiative, hence these new 3 S's that apply very well to the two of them.
Well, we're getting closer to that opening ceremony of this expo. Let's go live to our reporter Cui Huiyao, who is standing by for us at the International Broadcast Center in Shanghai. Thank you for joining us this hour, Huiyao. Now, as part of the first China International Import Expo, the Hongqiao Forum will also open this afternoon in conjunction with this expo. What's on the agenda there? Why is this such an important event on day one?
Hi, Chiu, and Hongqiao Forum is actually one of the three major components of the CI, and there are several highlights to it this afternoon. As we already know, there will be three parallel sessions. Each will be composed of guest speech and panel discussions. Big names in the global business world will be in attendance, including Bill Gates, Terry Gou of Foxconn, and Alibaba's Jack Ma. So what will they be discussing? Well, three main topics: opening up, innovation, and investment. So you might wonder, why do we need these discussions at CIIE? Well, it's because the issues are so relevant to the future of all the participants at CIIE, including the 3,000 enterprises and exhibitors, and of course the 150,000 buyers. So in fact, it would also affect every individual consumer like ourselves, because we all live in this fragmented world, especially with the ongoing debate about globalization and the rise of nationalism. So how could the world economy find a path forward? The Hongqiao Forum will offer its wisdom and solutions. And in addition to the three parallel sessions, there will be another high-level forum called International Business Media and Think Tank Forum. It's also taking place this afternoon, and it's actually co-hosted by CGTN under the theme of Build and Communicate an Open World Economy. So as the name itself suggests, guests from both the media industry and academia will discuss their own roles in the development of global economy. And finally, as a Shanghainese, I want to tell our international audience that Hongqiao is actually one of the primary expat communities in the city, with a big Japanese and Korean population. It is also home to one of the country's very first 14 economic and technological zones, and has witnessed the rocketing development of the city. So hosting such a high-profile international forum and the exhibition in Hongqiao itself is very symbolic of China's opening up. Back to you.
Many thanks, Huiyao. Huiyao joining us live in Shanghai there. Now, Chinese President Xi Jinping and his wife, Peng Liyuan, have held a welcoming banquet for world leaders who will attend the China International Import Expo in Shanghai. Organizers say they are looking to showcase China's burgeoning market to the world. During the banquet, President Xi said the giant trade fair also aims to promote a new round of high-level opening up. He said the expo, which officially begins on Monday, will have participants from 172 countries, regions, and international organizations. He added that more than 3,600 enterprises will use the platform to negotiate with buyers from all over the world. The Chinese president said the event would help advance global economic and trade cooperation, promote China's massive international development project, the Belt and Road Initiative, build a new platform to boost economic globalization, and improve the lives of people around the world. And the opening ceremony will begin in about 20 minutes. Chinese President Xi Jinping will speak at the Shanghai Convention and Exhibition Center, followed by other world leaders. Coming up next in our special coverage is a review of China's achievements in opening up its market and reforming its economy over the past 4 decades, right after this short break.
Shanghai, city on the sea, sparkling, bustling, cosmopolitan, China's first trading powerhouse, home to multinationals, Asian hubs, and Asia's second largest stock market. Business power runs through the metropolis. Shanghai welcomes in the best of the world to break down barriers, smooth business, discover new possibilities. Join us November 5th through the 10th. A defining statement in China's opening up. The 2018 China International Import Expo.
Welcome back to our special coverage. China is among the largest markets in the world and also the second largest importer. Past years have seen a steady growth of imports.
From 2001 to 2017, the average annual growth rate of imported goods reached 13.5%, 6.9 percentage points higher than the global average. During the same period, the growth rate of trade and services reached 16.7%, accounting for nearly 10% of the global total. Among all the goods imported in 2017, machinery and transport equipment made up over $700 billion or 40%, followed by crude materials worth over $250 billion. That's slightly higher than mineral fuels, lubricants, and related materials. As for China's service imports last year, tourism was the largest sector with a value of over $250 billion, accounting for more than half of all the services imported and far exceeding other areas, followed by the transport sector worth nearly $100 billion.
Joining us now from Shanghai is our correspondent. Jessica Stone. Great to see you there, Jessica. Now tell us more about the American companies participating in the expo. You've been following this expo for the past few days. What have you found out?
Well, of course, the Ministry of Commerce puts the number at about 180 American companies, and they range from large multinationals, Fortune 500s like General Electric, General Motors, and Ford, to a lot of smaller and medium-sized enterprises. And bringing a delegation from Wisconsin, that includes stone cutters and technology companies. The city of Houston is bringing energy and technology companies, and of course, the state of California, which has a very long relationship with the country of China, bringing 25 people, a number of different businesses in agriculture, things like wine, healthcare. They've actually talked to me about bringing a new burn ointment that they want to put on the market here. And also, of course, they have plenty of technology that they would like to bring to this market. It's worth bearing in mind that just because the U.S. government is not here in droves, it doesn't mean that U.S. companies can ignore this market. They really want to be here, and so they are. Well, I think it's a place where both sides are sending a message. I think that's Expo. The message, of course, is we want to buy. We don't just want to sell to the world. We want to buy from the world. Large multinationals that maybe already have a presence in Shanghai or Beijing to come and try to learn how to do business in China. And of course, it's also an opportunity for them to get introduced to provinces and municipalities, that are not the main. But that is also a function of what this import expo can do. There's certainly no expectation from people in Washington that there's going to be pledges of new kinds of reform, but what they are watching and what the world is really watching is how can China make it easier for these other companies, these less visible companies and entities from around the world to come and do business here. You know, there are people here from that represent one country with one product, and maybe in the agricultural space, maybe in the technological space. This is really a great opportunity for them to come and get an introduction to 150,000 Chinese buyers from all over the country, and that's really the focus here.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jessica Stone, reporting for us live at the venue there. It's interesting to see that despite the absence of U.S. government delegation, we're still seeing a large presence of U.S. companies there. And in addition to U.S. businesses, enterprises from African countries are also looking for a share of the massive Chinese market. Joining us with more information on that is our reporter Rama Nian, also in Shanghai. Great to have you with us, Rama. Now tell us more about the African companies who are participating in this expo.
Indeed. So if you're just using the countries from which these companies are from, there's a fairly large number there. 40 countries. That covers Nigeria and the Gambia over in the west. You've got Kenya, Ethiopia, and Rwanda over in the east, and Zambia as well from the south, including South Africa as well, the continent's largest economy. Now, those cover a range of sectors from agricultural produce, there's lots of that here, a bit of services, textiles as well. One interesting example that we've come across here on the agro side is an interesting medium-sized firm, Gashora Farms from Rwanda. They manage chili farms from around the East African country. They sell either the produce itself fresh into the market or a range of finished products to a range of countries, some of those in Europe, some next door in East Africa. China is a market rather that this business is very keen to crack. The global chili market is worth about tens of billions of dollars every year. Roughly 45% of global output is right here in China. So firms like Gashora are betting that given that this is a market that consumes some 30 million tons of chili every single year, there's room for them, for their produce, for their exports somewhere in this country of 1.4 billion people.
Yeah, and what impact do you think the CIE would bring bring to the economic cooperation between China and African countries?
Indeed, so that then depends on the kind of deals that are struck either at this event or the side events that of course are related to it between companies in China and various African companies in China and various African firms who are here showcasing their wares, or even companies within the global south as well, but also important between the government of China and some of the African governments represented here. So let's start with the company side. We'll have definitive answers on what sort of deals are struck over the course of the expo. We're already seeing some pretty interesting trade deals happening even in advance of the event though. Alibaba, for example, the e-commerce giant, they signed a deal with the authorities in Rwanda ahead of the CIIE to make Rwandese produce, Rwandese products available for purchase by buyers online here in China. Now, on the government side, there's a lot of policy work that needs to go into essentially boosting the flow of exports from African economies into China. The Kenyan government, for example, I know they came here looking to make progress into areas, funding for the second phase of the construction of the standard gauge rail line from Mombasa to Nairobi, and of course extending that to the Ugandan border, an agreement to the tune of nearly $4 billion, and an agreement as well on sanitary and phytosanitary standards. Now, the latter is especially important if they're to enable more exports of agricultural produce from Kenya and other countries in the region to flow into China. Those standards need to harmonize. So far, though, there's been no definitive deal on either of those fronts, even after the brief meeting between the two sides' presidents.
Shanghai. I want to bring back our guests, Mr. He and Mr. Spears now. So as our correspondent, Jessica Stowe and Ramaniam there mentioned, lots of American companies, African companies participating in this event. In fact, the expo has attracted over 3,600 companies, some of the prominent names, just to give you some examples: Sony, Samsung, Foxconn, Intel, General Motors, Tesla, Facebook, Google, as well as many other rising companies as well. But the sheer size of the Chinese market is amazing. Any unique opportunities that those companies can find in China that they can't find anywhere else?
I think certainly no companies will miss business opportunities. So this is Chinese CIIE is certainly a tremendous chance for their expanding business. Generally speaking, China's GDP adds $1 trillion per year for the recent years, about $500 billion per year. And capital formation might add about nearly $400 billion per year. That's a macro level. So each year we'll expand the market chances this way. And import size, the import of goods this year will exceed $2 trillion and will grow in the foreseeable future. In the 3 years between 2013 to 2016, China's ultimate consumption contributed 23.4% of total world consumption growth. So it will continue to do so. So this shows great opportunities for companies in different sectors alike. Just one example, the Medtronic, a world leader in cardiovascular treatment company based in the United States, will bring all the latest best solutions proved worldwide to China. I think China is a huge market because medical care expenditure for China last year exceeded 5 trillion renminbi, and it will grow by 2 digits in the foreseeable future. They see the future of the market, and so they will not lose any chance.
Want to build on that, Mr. Spears? From your observation, what kind of opportunities is China bringing to the table?
There are many, many opportunities. I would say, being British, I must also add that Jaguar Land Rover here, British Airways are here, AstraZeneca are here. So, very big major companies from very, very many major areas of industry. I think, for me, the big ones are here, but we also have the SMEs. Please do not forget the SMEs.
That's right. Because
from SMEs, they grow larger to international companies. So I think for now, it's a question of the SMEs coming to China, getting to understand the Chinese market, which is very different to many other countries, as you appreciate, and it's for them to become more comfortable being here, and it's for them to actually make those contacts with trusted partners in China, have trusted joint ventures maybe, so that they can expand not only Beijing, Shanghai, Chengdu, Chongqing, go west, Chengman, as they say. There's so many opportunities in so many different areas, but it will, as I say before, I'm a great optimist, but everything does take time, and there are very many difficult hurdles in China that foreigners need to understand before they become successful.
Yeah, so many opportunities in such a matchmaking kind of meeting between supply and demand side. Great, stay with me. Now, Chinese President Xi Jinping says the China International Import Expo is not just a policy, and the president has reiterated China's commitment to the policy on many occasions.
China will embrace an open world economy and a multilateral trading system and reject protectionism and unilateralism. No one who keeps himself in isolation on a single island will have a future. China will continue to adhere to its fundamental national policy of opening up and pursue development with its door wide open. I wish to make it clear to all that China's door of opening up will not be clubbed with the struggle of a chrysalis breaking free from its cocoon. There will be short-term pains, but such pains will create a new life. China will keep its door wide open and not close it. An open door allows both other countries to access the Chinese market and China itself to integrate with the world. China's opening drive is not a one-man show. Rather, it is an invitation open to all. It is a pursuit not to establish China's own sphere of influence, but to support common development of all countries. It is meant to build not China's own backyard garden, but a garden shared by all countries.
Now, the China International Import Expo is not the only effort being made to open up China's markets. A series of major actions was implemented throughout 2018, with the most recent change taking effect just days ago. These measures are expected to make the business environment more foreign investor friendly and better as a whole.
An opportune moment to enter the Chinese market. China's for a better business environment is fast becoming a reality, with accelerated implementation of opening up measures. The government has largely slashed the number of items on its negative list for foreign investment, which is now allowed to enjoy a permitted expansion of their business scopes. Another big step, easier access to the manufacturing sector. This affects industries like new energy vehicles, shipping, and aircraft. The government has also announced liberalization of agriculture, energy, and resources. At the same time, foreign restrictions have been further loosened or even removed in free trade zones, especially in the agriculture and mining sectors. While allowing foreign investment opens doors, many say a profitable business environment is another need. This year has seen 3 rounds of tariff reductions in China. Since May, China has exempt import tariffs on 28 different drugs, such as cancer medications and imported traditional Chinese medicines. Effective July 1st, China's average tariff rate on vehicles was reduced to 13.8%, lower than the average of developing economies. There was also a tariff cut on more than 1,400 daily necessities, such as clothing, cosmetics, and home appliances. The most recent tariff reduction was for industrial products, which just came into effect on November the 1st. It includes over 1,500 goods like textiles, ceramics, glass, and machinery, accounting for nearly 1/5 of China's total tariff items. The new policy will save an estimated 60 billion yuan for firms and consumers, trimming the nation's overall tariff rate to 7.5%, down 9.8% in 2017. With lower tariffs and greater openness, China is determined to bring more benefits to the world. Timothy Ulrich, CGTN.
All right, we want to talk about the tariff cuts now. Let me get your take first on this. You know, in November 2017, the government announced it was slashing tariffs on 187 consumer products, which, as Chinese finance ministry said, were in short supply domestically. What do you make all of this?
Yes, As we just heard,